Republican government is, in the United States, supposed to represent the individual, the small businessman, but it does nothing of the kind. And nor does the Democratic government. They're both the same. There's no way of choosing between them, except which group of gangsters you're going to put in power. I don't know how it is in Canada, but that's what it is below the border. I'm, in a way, an anarchist, in the sense of the philosophical anarchist, not the bomb-throwing anarchist, but the Prince Kropotkin style of anarchist, who would like to leave things pretty well alone. So they sort themselves out. All society depends on our trusting each other. Now, we're all untrustworthy, but there is no alternative than trusting each other, even though our trust may be misplaced. We must make that gamble, because the only alternative to trusting each other is a police state. And who trusts the policeman? Do they have our best interests at heart? All governments become self-serving corporations with their interests at heart. So face it, in a hard-boiled, realistic way, we've got to trust each other. And there is no way of going on unless we do that.
David Graeber is here. He is an associate professor of anthropology at Yale University. He's also a prominent anarchist and anti-globalization activist. He has participated in some of the largest public demonstrations in recent years, from Genoa to Quebec City. He also helped organize protests against the World Economic Forum in New York, the Republican National Convention, and the G8 Summit in Scotland.
Experiencing it makes it real in a certain way, living in a place like that. Because I think as an idea, anarchism is very appealing to a lot of people. It's certainly very appealing to me. I mean, most people think it would be nice to live in a free society where people simply governed themselves and there wasn't a systematic structure of coercion regulating you all the time. But most people can't imagine that it could ever happen. So when you see examples of it's happening, when you see anarchy in action and it works, it just changes your perceptions of what's possible in society and in human life.
No brotherhood initiated me. No lineage reaching back to the fall of Atlantis brought me into its circle. Therefore, I feel completely free to say anything I want. Nobody has ever come to me and said, you are spilling the beans, you are telling the secret. A long, long time ago, and we all have different opinions. This is mine. I hope it doesn't offend. But a long, long time ago, I took an oath to tell all secrets that came my way. Don't tell me a secret. I won't keep it. I'm against secrets. I'm against hierarchies, lineages, all assumption of special knowledge on the part of anyone in the presence of anyone else is abhorrent to me. I mean, I am a true anarchist, first and foremost.
Anarchism has nothing to do with bomb-throwing mayhem. It's anarchism is a point of view which, first of all, it covers a lot of things. Political rhetoric is not the clearest, it's not a model of clarity, and anarchism has covered quite a lot of ground, but the mainstream of it has just been the basic principle, which I think comes straight out of classical liberalism and the Enlightenment, that any form of authority and domination has a burden of proof to bear. It has to demonstrate that it's legitimate. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's inside a family or the global economy. If it is a form of authority and domination and coercion, it has to show that it's legitimate. If it can demonstrate it's legitimate, it's a heavy burden to bear. If it shows that it's legitimate, okay. If not, it ought to be dismantled. That's anarchism. It's very hard to recognize that. I mean, people live, for millennia, without recognizing that they are being subordinated in systems of power. I mean, that's true of women, for example. Or slaves, you know. I mean, most slave societies were accepted by the slaves as legitimate and, in fact, necessary. The same is true of, for example, people who have jobs today in our society. Almost without exception, they consider it legitimate for them to be in a position where they have to rent themselves in order to survive. That's certainly not obvious, you know.
I don't know, you know, I can't answer those questions, and I tell you who I love to read is Noam Chomsky, and if y'all can get into Noam Chomsky at all, he will definitely take a squeegee to your third eye. And that's what we need to have happen. But thanks for calling. I appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, Bill. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Bill.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nixon's only concerned about the middle silent majority, which we don't have to worry about because it's silent. What is that? I have a silent majority. Well, how do you know? It's silent. Young people are the only people in this whole country that have saved the soul of America by protesting the crimes committed in Vietnam, Asia, and at home in the courts and in the jails, etc.
See, already I'm concerned about... See, I get the feeling you're giving me...
sincerity here.
You're giving me answer 23B, so when I...
No, it's 27A.
All right. Well, let's you know what I mean, don't you?
No, I don't.
Well, I'm disappointed that you don't seem to be able to converse with me. You know, sort of, I ask you a question, you start waving your eyes and look at those people. Why don't you look at me, and I'll ask you a question, because it's sincerely asked.
Didn't I just...
I want to know...
I've met you before.
I don't think so.
Didn't we meet 5th Street in New York? You sold me that dope? You might... What are you doing? Sort of on the side, you're a TV personality, and you're the biggest dope dealer in New York City.
Yeah,
and he comes on the show real sincere. I want to sincerely tell people about your real activities, man.
Yeah, that's cute.
You got the best LSD and best pot in town. You find no wonder you know the air schedule so well. You're fine in New York and making deals on 5th Street, 6th Street, 7th Street. He comes on here real serious now. Do you think it might prolong?
That's cute. That really is cute.
That's true.
Okay.
But you're upset that I've destroyed your cover.
But you know, if you're... I have to, you cannot talk about Jerry. Now, here we are. You've got X thousands of people out there who are listening to you now, mad at me because I put you on. All right, here's an opportunity.
Take dope. Smoke dope. American Army's falling apart because of all the pot smoking. You dig that, don't you? You know how the war in Vietnam is going to end? The war in Vietnam is going to end.
That's going to be another cute story.
The war in Vietnam is going to end when the American Army puts down its guns or turns its guns around and aims it at the head of the generals. And marijuana smoking right now is so prevalent in the Army, people just want to get high. They don't want to go out and fight and die.
Okay.
You dig it?
Yeah.
There's a real connection. There's a real connection between pot smoking in Asia and the defeat of the American Army. Yeah. Because here's American boys, American men, sent thousands of miles away to Asia to fight for land that, you know, they don't even speak the language. And what are they fighting for? And they're fighting against peasants, fighting against 15-year-old kids, fighting against housewives, fighting against everybody. You know, every single person who is Vietnamese is a potential enemy. So what are we doing over here? Someone hands up a joint and say, yeah, I just want to get high. Come back and get high and get thrown in jail for getting high. It's incredible. Yeah. Well, you've got a psychological problem, but I'm not your psychiatrist. Look, young people know that this government has no morality, that this country was founded on the destruction of the Indians.
Yeah. Young people, you speak for young people?
I'm speaking for myself,
right,
and I'm speaking for a truth that I feel in the streets,
Fine.
And if you don't feel it, you're blind. Because young people know that the people that have power in this country have no soul, no morality, and no ears. Absolutely none. And
in my eyes, indisposed, in disguises no one knows, hides the face, lies the snake, and the sun in my disgrace, boiling heat, summer stench, neath the blacklist sky looks dead. Call my name through the crane, and I'll hear you scream again.
Oh no.
All right, let's see if we can get Congressman Collins back. Obviously, we just lost his satellite feed. That sucks.
Bleiben, so wie ich es damals in der Rede gesagt habe. Aber was Europa betrifft, wissen Sie, ich glaube, ich würde heute eine andere Rede halten. Damals habe ich Banner aufgepflanzt. Ja, Europa und ever closer, immer intensiver miteinander.
Was würden Sie
Heute würde ich sagen, lass uns den Arbeitskittel anziehen. Ja, da gibt es etwas, was wir heilen müssen, was wir verbessern müssen, wo wir miteinander neu diskutieren müssen. Dass die einzelnen Bevölkerungen, denn die Eliten sind gar nicht das Problem, die Bevölkerung. Die Eliten sind gar nicht das Problem, die Bevölkerung. Die Eliten sind gar nicht das Problem, die Bevölkerung. Die Eliten sind gar nicht das Problem, die Bevölkerung.
Herrgott! Das geht doch so nicht, verstehst das nicht? Hier ist auch ein Genie verloren gegangen. Und dir wollte ich wieder den ollen Quatsch singen, nicht? Den kannst du. Jetzt aber falsch spielst, verstehst du? Dann gibt's einen Tritt. Wer wird denn weinen, wenn man auseinander geht, wenn an der nächsten Ecke schon ein anderer steht? Man sagt auf Wiedersehen und denkt sich heimlich bloß, na endlich bin ich wieder mein Verhältnis los. Wer will denn weinen, wenn man auseinander geht, wenn an der nächsten Ecke schon ein anderer steht? Man sagt auf Wiedersehen und denkt sich heimlich bloß, na endlich bin ich wieder mein Verhältnis los.
Well, I've been a journalist for about 25 years, and I was educated to lie, to betray, and not to tell the truth to the public. But seeing right now, within the last months, how far, how the German and American media tries to bring war to the people in Europe, to bring war to Russia. This is a point of no return, and I'm going to stand up and say it is not right what I have done in the past, to manipulate people, to make propaganda against Russia, and it is not right what my colleagues do and have done in the past, because they are bribed to betray the people, not only in Germany, all over Europe. People like me, I became an honorary citizen of the state of Oklahoma in the United States. Just why? Just because I write pro-American. I wrote pro-American. I was supported by the Central Intelligence Agency, by the CIA. Why? Because I should be pro-American. I'm fed up with it. I don't want to do it anymore. And so but they gave me all these secret informations, and they just wanted me to write, to sign the article with my name. I did that, but it was an article that was published in the Frankfurter Allgemeine that originally came from the Bundesnachrichtendienst, from the German Foreign Intelligence Agency. So do you really think that this is journalism? Intelligence agencies writing articles? So what happened was that he lost his job, and the court in Germany, the judge decided that they were right, because such a guy could not be trusted. He was kicked off his job because he didn't cooperate with the Foreign Intelligence Service. So I knew what would happen if I would not cooperate with intelligence services. Well, I have had, let me say, 6 times my house was house searched because I was accused by the public prosecutor, the German public prosecutor. I was accused of leaking secrets of states. 6 times house search. Well, they hoped that I wouldn't do that ever again. But I think it's worth that the truth will come out one day. The truth won't die. And I don't mind what will happen. I've had 3 heart attacks. I have no children. So if they want to bring me to court or to prison, so it's worse for the truth.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Hotline. If you are obsessive compulsive, press 1 repeatedly. If you are codependent, ask someone to press 2 for you. If you have multiple personalities, press 3, 4, 5, 6. If you are paranoid, we know what you are and what you want. Stay on the line and we'll trace your call. If you're delusional, press 7 and your call will be transferred to the mothership. If you are schizophrenic, listen carefully. A small voice will tell you which number to press. If you're depressive, it doesn't matter which number you press, no one will answer you. If you're dyslexic, press 69696969. If you have a nervous disorder, please stay just on the hash key until the beep. After the beep, please wait for the beep. If you have short-term memory loss, please try your call again later. And if you have low self-esteem, hang up the phone or operator.
I believe that laziness is a fucking myth created by corporate overlords who guilt you into thinking you are lazy because you don't want to do the menial, repetitive, boring tasks that they rely on you to do in order to line their back pockets. Instead of thinking, oh, maybe society is fucked. Maybe our cultural approach to life is fucked. No! You're fucked. You have ADD. Something inside of you isn't working right. It's incredible how much we hate the present moment. Escaping to the Bahamas. Escape to the Bahamas. Those are the fucking marketing terms used for like vacation packages.
Our guest is Jerry Rubin, who has done a book called Do It. Mr. Rubin, tell me what you talk about in the book.
Revolution, overthrowing the government, free sex, free dope, free TV.
Do you believe in those things?
I not only believe in it, do it. That's the title, do it.
You mean in free dope, you think you ought to be able to get it without paying for it?
Marijuana should be sold, or marijuana should be free in every drugstore. You ever turned on?
What do you mean by that?
Ever gotten high? Stoned?
No.
No?
I'm sorry.
But you drink?
Certainly, but I don't get stoned from it.
Alcohol is very bad for you.
No.
Dope is good.
Who says that?
Well, everybody who takes it,
Do doctors say it's good?
Well, doctors, what do they know? But people who take it, young kids who take it know it. Everyone on TV watching out there ought to tell to smoke dope.
I'll tell you something. I had a woman who took dope. She was only 20 years old, lovely and beautiful. She just came out of jail. In order to get the dope, she became a prostitute so she'd have money for it. You think that's good?
No, well, that's because the society puts people in jail for smoking dope. There's over 300,000 people who smoke dope who are now in jail. People who drink alcohol put people who smoke dope in jail. Timothy Leary, our brother, is now in jail in California. 20 years for smoking dope, smoking flowers. And every young kid out there watching TV knows that smoking flowers is nice.
What do you mean by flowers?
Marijuana is a flower. It grows.
Oh, and you
it's a natural thing.
All right, well, let's go.
I mean, you smoke it and it's really nice. Alcohol is terrible. Alcohol knocks up your brain very bad.
Have you ever...
Alcohol destroys
Why?
you.
Have you been
alcohol
drinking?
is destroyed. Every time. No, I don't drink. I mean,
Well, then how do you know?
Well, I've tried it and it's just crazy, and I see what happens. Alcohol has destroyed the American middle class, made it the most destructive and racist class in the history
Why do you
of the
want a
world.
revolution?
Want a revolution, something can be free, so that we can free
Free from
Bobby
what?
Seale. Free from racism, free from pigs. We got to eliminate all the pigs.
About pigs, you're referring to human beings or animals?
I'm referring to policemen.
Well, I've got a
No, you
shock
don't like
for
that.
you.
You don't like that.
I'm very friendly with police.
Oh, you are you? Well, I got a shock for you. I'm very friendly with the Black Panther Party.
Out. Stop the interview.
If it works, it's right.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, it's wrong.
Well, nobody's ever given it a chance before, have they? Nobody's ever given peace a complete chance. Gandhi tried it, Martin Luther King tried it, but they were shot. But nobody's...
When I went into political reporting 20, 15 years ago, I thought that MPs went in to serve the public good. What I came to realise, the core thing which happened in the House of Commons was not opposition, but collusion. The MPs of rival parties have far more in common with each other than they have in common with ordinary members of the public. That in fact they are, to a large extent, engaged in a conspiracy against the public. I'll give you an example. When Jackie Smith was caught up in her expenses controversy a few weeks ago, which looked very odd to ordinary members of the public, when she went into Home Office questions, and the Home Secretary took questions, there wasn't a single question from the Tory opposition or from the Liberal Democrats about her very peculiar expenses arrangements. And that is because attacking either party on expenses issues is like using an area weapon, i.e. it's going to destroy or kill off personnel on both sides. Labour now no longer would attack a Tory who's bent because there's too much at stake. If you go back a generation or two, people who came into the Commons, whether from the left or the right, the primary objective was to serve the country or to serve their voters, not to make money for themselves. What is new is that the majority of people now coming into Parliament have sought politics as a career since leaving universities. And therefore, what we see is the use of the House of Commons, use of MPs' alliances, the use of political connections as a way of making a huge sum of money. Very interesting to watch what happens to former ministers. Let's have a look at Tony Blair. You know, he's gone off to work for an American investment bank. He earns millions of pounds of money for that, giving very high-level consultancy about how to link business and politics. John Major, Blair's predecessor, joined the Carlyle Group, a very, very secretive, little-known organisation linked to the Bush family. Whose whole sort of raison d'etre is to make money out of government privatizations and contracts. What it does is to cast doubt about the real integrity and independence of the advice these people are doing in office, because the people they're dealing with in office then come and give them jobs, incredibly well-paid jobs, afterwards. The political class funds party political activity in a completely different way to the system which prevailed after World War II. Because parties can't go to mass members anymore, there is one way they can use fund money is by basically using their access to the process of government and selling that to interested parties in the business world. You go to the annual conference of the governing party, it's much more like a corporate away day than a party conference. And so businessmen who want to acquire access to the Prime Minister can get it, but they have to pay for it. And you get the emergence of these rather sinister figures, lauded in the press, never exposed, these people who broker. They broker between big business and the politicians.
Based on ISDS history, critics argue that European state sovereignty and democracy are at serious risk. Previous lawsuits include Swedish company Vattenfall suing the German state for $3.7 billion for phasing out nuclear energy. British American Tobacco sued Australia for passing a law limiting cigarette advertising. The French company YLYL sued Egypt for raising the minimum wage.
The moral vision must come from the unconscious. It doesn't have to do, I believe, with these post-meaning movements in art, deconstructionism, and this sort of thing. I mean, I'm basically putting out a very conservative, but I think exciting program for art, that art's task is to save the soul of mankind, and that anything less is a dithering while Rome burns. Because if the artists who are self-selected for being able to journey into the other, if the artist cannot find the way, then the way cannot be found.
We're on trial because of the fact that we breathe, live, eat, get high. That's the only crime. The trial is very important symbolically because America is putting its youth on trial and is trying to use this trial in an attempt to destroy the youth movement, the youth culture across the country. And we've been sitting there waiting for some kind of evidence of crimes to be presented, and pretty soon we've begun to realize that our only crime is the fact that we dare to challenge the government and social system of the United States.
When you were here before, you couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so very special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't I don't care if it hurts. I want to have control.
Before Clinton was shooed into office, he had to compete against a host of other Democratic candidates. The media focused on 4 of these candidates, but Larry Agron was a 5th candidate the press did not report on.
There's no makeup here?
During the 1992 U.S. Conference of Mayors, the New York Times reported that, quote, dozens of mayors seem to agree on one thing. The single candidate who truly understands urban needs is Larry Agron, unquote.
They promised to bring this stuff over.
None of the networks mentioned Agron's presence at the convention.
How about if I run over that super saver?
One of Agron's staff had to run over to the Super Saver and buy some makeup because the network had broken its promise to provide it. This was typical of the media's treatment of Agron. When he appeared at this Democratic Candidates Forum, this Associated Press photo simply cropped Agron out of the frame. During the New Hampshire primary, the TV news reported the polling numbers of the top 5 Democratic candidates: Brown, Clinton, Harkin, Kerry, and Tsongas. When Agron moved into a three-way tie with Harkin and Brown with 2% of the vote, most of the TV news didn't mention Agron. The day Bill Clinton captured what may have been the most valuable airtime of the entire election, as he spoke to 50 million viewers about his alleged affair, was the same day that a poll showed Agron's support at 4%. He had passed Brown and was the 5th leading candidate. When ABC's Sunday Evening News reported this poll, they simply deleted Agron entirely by not reporting his candidacy. During the New Hampshire primary, Agron's only live commercial TV appearance was through this satellite feed to ABC's Nightline. But the Nightline program wasn't directly about the election. When Agron complained to news executives about his lack of coverage, he was told he had not earned the right to media exposure because he had not received enough media exposure.
And on stage, the 5 major contenders for the Democratic presidential nomination.
Although Agron was on the ballot in nearly half the country, he was barred from most televised debates, including this one sponsored by the League of Women Voters. He couldn't meet one of the League's main criteria, which was, quote, recognition by the national media as a candidate meriting media attention, unquote.
Good evening and welcome to the Democratic presidential candidates debate on urban America.
Agron wanted to debate on urban America, calling for a 50% cut in defense spending and the reinvestment of some of that money into America's decaying cities.
We are going to be coming to you, live from Lehman College, and you'll hear a bit of a disturbance in the background, but we'll go on with that in any case.
The disturbance is Larry Agron asking to be included in the debate so that he can explain his plans for defense cuts and urban revitalization.
Transfer of President Ferdinand Ferrer, and Mr. President, I suggest you wait for just a moment till the man is quieted or chooses to quiet down. All right, Mr.
Agron was quickly arrested. His court date fell on the first day of the Democratic National Convention.
During this campaign, but very little said about the problems facing America's cities. Tonight, we'll change all that.
Without media exposure and the debates, Agron couldn't quickly receive federal campaign funds, and his candidacy lost momentum.
You look all right on camera.
What's that?
You look all right, there's no hot spots.
Really? Okay. Well, you just got a mustache that shows through here. Okay, why don't you go get some stuff, Mike? Oh, yeah. There we go. Campaign funds.
The Democratic Party refused to include Agron in the debates or speak to the networks on his behalf. Agron talked about his exclusion, saying, "I've challenged my own party for its continuing complicity in Cold War thinking, Cold War rhetoric, and Cold War budgets."
Come on, darling.
Who opened the airlock? His arms froze.
Give us an hour. If we don't show up, you'll know you don't have to wait any longer.
But my weapons are more powerful than yours.
time has come to fight, YLYL. You must always gain control of your emotions. Are you ready?
Yes, Master.
Be brave, apprentice. May the Force be with us.
Espérer plus d'espérance. Trois jours l'heure ni colombe, en montrant le ciel immense. Mouchette.
I deleted all my other girls' numbers out the phone for you. Remember when you had to take the bar exam I drove in the snow for you? Yeah, you probably don't remember half the shit a nigga did for you. Yeah, you ain't really fuck with me way back then, girl. How about now? Cause I'm up right now, and you suck right now. Oh, you thought you had it all figured out back then, girl. How about now? Cause I'm up right now, and you suck right now. Yeah, you thought the little effort that you put in was enough, girl. How about now? Yeah. Girl, how about now? How about now, girl?
In the bigger picture, why is the so-called caliphate appealed to? Because when the Muslim world looks around in the so-called Muslim world, they see dictators, they see corrupt rulers, they see ignorant people. And so this is, for them, they offer this as an alternative to what they see as a failed system. So how are you going to tell people democracy, democracy, democracy? What democracies are you supporting in the Middle East and in Muslim countries? You're supporting dictators. So ISIS provides an alternative to the corruption and the dictatorship that these people are seeing in their countries.
There's Mary. There's Mungo. And there's Midge, who was convicted of killing 22 civilians at My Lai in South Vietnam.
and watch me bleed.
I walk in shadows, searching for light, cold and alone, no comfort inside, hoping and praying for someone who cares, always moving and going nowhere. Now what becomes of the broken hearted who had love that's now departed? I know I've got to find some kind of peace of mind, maybe. Searching, though I don't succeed, but some